Welcome to Pivot, a podcast hosted by Katie Day, where we find out how business owners have been pivoting their businesses to stay relevant and successful.
Hey guys, what's going on? Katie Day with the Move Me to Texas team with Coldwell Banker here in Houston, Texas, here for another episode of the Pivot podcast. Today, I am joined by my friend Melissa out of Pace, Florida, just outside of Pensacola in the Panhandle area, northwest Florida. I don't know my sense of direction. Northwest Florida. How's it going today, Melissa? How are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain. Finally, some sunny weather.
Yeah. Is the north part of Florida similar to South Florida, that it rains a lot in the summer?
Yes. At least once, even when it's sunny.
Yeah. That's what I always, when I lived in Florida, it was always the craziest thing. Like, it would be sunny out. You'd be like, sweet, we're going to go to the beach, or we're going to do this or that. And then like you turn around and it's raining and you're like, what just happened? So always interesting. Cool. So initially I guess we met through common friends. I would say now probably 6, 7, maybe more years ago. But have gotten to know each other a lot better over the past few years because we're both in real estate. So we've exchanged some referrals and questions and things like that. But as far as kind of your background, Melissa, for people that don't know you, how did you get into real estate? What have you done with your life up until this point? Just, I guess, a little more info about you.
So yeah, my friends, my high school buddies moved to Houston. And then I would just go and visit periodically, hang out. You guys have a great food scene. I love it.
So much food.
But they introduced me to you. And then, yeah, when I got into real estate, we've kind of become closer since then. But prior to real estate, my background is physical therapy. That's what I went to college for. This year makes 10 years I've been a therapist. The last 4 years of that, so 6 years in, I decided to get my real estate license. And it wasn't so off the wall that I got it. I feel that when I was 14 years old, like looking back on life, when I was about 13, 14, my friend's parents introduced me to the lifestyle. They were building apartments. They built a ton of single family homes. They rented them out, and they taught me just the basic foundation that you can to a 14-year-old, you know?
Yeah.
But it's always stuck with me.
Yeah.
So fast forward to now, and now I'm just helping sellers and buyers, and I've stepped into the investment world. It's opened a lot of doors, and I wish I would have done it sooner.
Yeah. I completely agree, for sure. So outside of just real estate, I know that there's other kind of side hustles and things that you've started. So we'll dig into that a little bit as well today. As far as kind of focusing in on COVID and how, this year has been, a lot different, I think, than ever anyone thought it was going to be at the start of 2020. What would you say, like, either personally or professionally, would be like the biggest positive that you've seen or that you've gotten out of 2020 so far?
I think stepping out of my comfort zone and cold calling. Cold calling was my biggest one.
Yeah.
It just extremely nervous. But just reconnecting, like we previously spoke about, calling past buyers and sellers or calling friends and just touching base. What are you doing with your life? This is what I do. Let me know if I can help you. And it's just that simple.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it's that simple, but sometimes we overlook that step.
Yeah, for sure. It's been interesting, for sure, like connecting, with people. What's crazy too about making phone calls and calling people, whether it's people you know or people you don't know or whatever, is like, I feel like, for at least the first part of the year, like everyone was available. People were home. They wanted something to do. So it was great. It's been great catching up with, friends and things like that. So I hear you on that. So as far as the podcast goes, it's the Pivot podcast. So kind of what my focus was, or my intent was in starting this, was having conversations with business owners, entrepreneurs, real estate agents, everyone in between, in regards to things that they've done to have to pivot their business, or, a lot of people I've talked to have started new businesses this year, which, is kind of crazy when you think about it. So I know that you've done a lot this year. So I guess if you want to talk about things you've started, things you've done to kind of pivot to stay relevant, and anything in between.
So aside from real estate, I've been following my friend. He's local. He runs a successful small lawn business. He has put the blueprint to start it on YouTube. Around Thanksgiving, I went to his family's house and had Thanksgiving with them. And I was like, why did you put the blueprint? I feel like you're probably getting a lot of hate from the other lawn companies. And he was like, yeah, I am. However, probably only 1% of the population is actually going to use that. I decided to be the 1%. So I was in Washington whenever Seattle initially shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went to clear my mind. My sister lives in Seattle with her husband. I came back and my friend was like, I'm going to get med boarded out of the military. I would like something to go to, because I don't want to go to a desk job. I said, well, Jonathan put the blueprint to a lawn business on YouTube. And we literally sat on the couch, had this conversation. The next day, kind of wrote out our logistics of it,
Mm-hmm.
where we went. And the day after that, bought equipment and started. And this is all, I get back from Seattle, they're locked down. When I come back 2 weeks later, we're locked down. The great thing about here is, and I'm sure it's everywhere, is that there's an app called Nextdoor where you can just put your information on.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't do any advertising. We can't because people don't want you coming to their home. So
COVID or not, people don't want to answer their door. So,
That is true. Unless you're DoorDash.
Yeah, bring me my food.
Yep. So we did one lady's yard that we found on this Nextdoor app,
Mm-hmm.
and it just spread like wildfire. And we are at a point where we started at a point where we could say no. So we're not taking every job, but I mean, people don't want to do their yards, and I feel like it's a really big untapped source.
Yeah.
So it's been a great tool to have in my toolbox aside from real estate.
Well, and I feel like it complements real estate well, because I feel like a lot of times, when you're working with a seller and helping them to prepare their home for the market, landscaping and things like that are sometimes overlooked. And I think it's super important for curb appeal and for photos and all that to ensure that everything looks good, from the moment you step outside of your car, outside of a house. So I'm sure it's been beneficial for you to have,
Yes, I've gotten my listings set up. I've put it out to just a few realtors in the area. I've helped them get their listings ready for pictures. It's been really good.
Nice. Cool. So, I mean, obviously you've worked in a few different industries. Are there other times in the past where you've had to pivot or to change kind of what your thought was of what you're going to be doing, work-wise, or just to be able to, stay successful or stay relevant?
I feel like I've always pivoted career-wise.
Yeah.
So started off as a therapist, things were changing within that industry that I kind of saw, and I didn't like the direction that it was going. So I was like, let me just add real estate to this.
Mm-hmm.
I was a full-time therapist and I did real estate on the side. Then I like real estate and the traditional buying and selling, but then I pivoted to let me see what investments I can do. Let me build wealth. Let me not just,
Mm-hmm.
you know, help other people build wealth.
Yeah.
And then now I've just added lawn care.
Yeah. You've done do you do flips? I feel like I've seen you.
My brother and I do flips. And that's something I always wanted to do. It's just that I think it was too risky for me in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But when he called me saying he found a house with a hole in the roof, do I want a partner? He felt super confident about it. I ran the numbers, they worked, and I was like, yes, let's do
Yeah. Well, that's normally too, like the properties that are in the most disrepair, the numbers probably will work a little bit better, you know. So you're never going to find a flip that's like, oh, all it needs is a new countertop and it's ready to go. You know, those numbers aren't going to work. So, cool. As far as other things, what would you say as far as like a fun fact about you? What's something that nobody knows about you or they may not know about you?
When I graduated high school, I was going to college to be a general contractor.
Okay.
And I'm going to be real. Math was just not my strong. So once I got into this business calculus and I saw everything, I was like, maybe not.
As
But
far as like real life application though, business like, I mean, calculus I get for a business degree or whatever, but like, you know, I've never once calculated something to the extent of like calculus. I've only done like addition and subtraction, multiplication, and maybe some division, you know, and then I've got this over here that does it all for me, right? So, yeah.
yeah, it was super hard. And then I just went down the route of physical therapy. But it's weird that it all comes full circle. I'm back to
Yeah.
obviously I'm not a general contractor, but I'm still playing general contractor with my flips.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm not using calculus.
Yeah.
Screw you, college. No, yeah, that's I have those moments a lot when I see things as far as like, you know, classes that I took that I'm like, man, this was unnecessary work, but you know, it's all to get that piece of paper, I guess.
Yeah.
So as far as all the things that you do, how would people find you on social media, or like what websites do you have or pages for real estate, for lawn care? How would someone, if they need your services in the greater Pensacola Pace area, how would they find you?
So my personal Instagram is MWATT87. The lawn care page is Crew Cuts Experts. And then my real estate page on Facebook is Melissa Watson Realtor.
Awesome. Good deal. Well, I appreciate you taking some time today to chat with me. It's always good to catch up. Is there anything else that you want to add or throw out there into the universe?
Yes, don't let fear hold you back. If you want to do something, if you're interested in maybe adding another source of income to your toolbox or another skill to your toolbox, just do it. That's really all I did with lawn care. I just did it. And it's worked out really well and it continues to grow. So don't let fear immobilize you.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And I think a little bit of fear, you know, and apprehension is always good. You know, keeps you humble. So, you know.
It does, but don't let it immobilize you so you
Yeah.
miss opportunity.
Yeah. Cool, my friend. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to chat today. And I look forward to some point in time when I'm either in Florida or you're in Texas and we can grab some food or beverages or something. But until then, Zooming will have to do. But yeah, I appreciate your time today, and I'll chat with you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Pivot. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and follow Katie on social media at MoveMe2TX to stay up to date in all things real estate.